Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about the 3 most anticipated games that I want to play again. This is my version of an anticipated list. I anticipate games that I haven't played, but I also really do anticipate playing games again if I enjoyed my first play of those games or my first few plays of those games. So this time, this is the second time I've done one of these videos. And since it's the second one, I had the chance to ask Stonemaier ambassadors what games they are most looking forward to playing again in the next month. And I'll just run through their answers really quick. They said Andromeda's Edge, Clans of Caledonia, Lightning Train, Origin Story, SETI, Spirit Island, Tend, The Elder Scrolls, Vantage, Voidfall, and Wingspan. These are all the answers from ambassadors that got more than one response. All right, let's jump to my picks. The first one is, I'll show you on my other screen. This is Fairy Ring. So Fairy Ring is one that I played at 4 players at a recent game day, and I was really caught off guard by how good it is. I mean, this was completely off my radar, and yet I really, really enjoyed it. This is a drafting game with a set collection element that has a surprising amount of player interaction for a drafting set collection game, in my opinion. So what you're doing on your turn is that you have a hand of cards, and you are going to choose one of those cards to place into your tableau. And generally, you are extending the height of the mushrooms, these mushroom towers that you can see here. You're extending the height of them to increase the potential for scoring. You're not scoring anything as you place a card. Then there's a number in the upper left of the card, and that determines how far you move your fairy around this fairy ring. So all players contribute to the fairy ring that they're building, even though you have your own tableau. So if the card that I play has the number 5 in the upper left-hand corner, I need to move my fairy 5 spaces. So say this is my fairy, I would move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It lands on this green mushroom right here. And this does 2 things. One, it triggers the scoring, the set collection scoring for this player over here. And then if I'm over here and I have at least 1 green mushroom, I also trigger the scoring for my own mushroom. So there are certainly times in the game where you're triggering another player's scoring and you aren't getting anything, but ideally, you are placing mushrooms in such a way, whether they're you're placing them laterally or vertically on one of your mushroom towers, and the number of that card lets you place it so that you are moving on to a mushroom that you already have, and so you are at least scoring even when you are triggering someone else's mushroom tower. I just had a lot of fun playing it. I liked building these mushroom towers. I liked the level of interaction. It wasn't mean. It was very positive. I was doing things that were helping other players, but in doing so, I was often helping myself as well. There's a little bit of randomness, which I didn't mind. I mean, because you don't know what cards are going to be passed to you. You also don't know which other players' fairies are going to move on to your cards. And you don't know exactly sometimes how far your fairy will actually move. Because even though I plan to move this fairy 5 spaces, this player could play another card out here, and that would change which card that I'm landing on. But yeah, I had a great time playing Fairy Ring, and I look forward to playing that one again. The second game that I have on tap here is a dueling 2-card game or 2-player game called Duel for Cardia. I played this back-to-back with Megan with the 2 sets of cards that are included in this game, and I really, really enjoyed it. The core idea of this game is that simultaneously with the other player, you are playing a card. You're each playing 1 card, and the card played, they're kind of going into a duel against each other. The card with the higher number generally gets a point, and the card with the lower number that's played, so in this case the 6, they get to trigger their ability on the cards. There are certainly times where you are playing a card because you want to win it, and maybe you do, or you want to win the duel and get that point. But there are other times where you're playing a card specifically to get the ability on that card. And there's rarely a time that you play a card and you don't get anything that you wanted. I mean, the only times that really happens is when you tie, and then nothing happens in that tie. But I also particularly liked in this game that even though you have these momentary duels between 2 cards, those duels, these cards stay on the table, and that can impact a lot of the abilities that you play, because a number of abilities refer to cards that you will play or cards that you have played. So the duels are kind of ongoing in that way, even though they are also resolved at that moment that you actually play them. The head games in this game, where you're trying to determine what your opponent might play, what's good for you, what you think they might try to do to get closer to the win, because 5 points wins the game. I really, really enjoyed that decision space, and I really look forward to playing again with other combinations of cards and other opponents too, to see how they play this game out. That's Duel for Cardia. And the last one, my number 3 game. These are in no particular order, but this is Dispatch. This is a digital game that does feel a little bit like maybe a real-time tabletop game at times. But I normally talk about tabletop games, but I just had such a delightful time playing Dispatch that I wanted to mention that I look forward to playing it again. And that is a bit of a surprise for me because Dispatch, other than this dispatching auto battler game that you're playing, basically a problem will pop up in the city, and you have to decide based on context clues which of your heroes is the best to send to that problem to deal with that problem. And who's even available. Like in this case, I have heroes that are resting. I have heroes that are busy. Do I hope that, like, if I think Prism is the right hero for this job, do I try to wait for Prism to finish resting? And at that point, will this problem still be available to solve? There's a lot of like order of operations puzzles to solve in this minigame. I really enjoy it. But beyond that, and the reason why I wasn't sure if I would want to play Dispatch again, because it's an 8-chapter game. There are a lot of story decisions that you make along the way. Some have small impacts, some have big consequences. I am happy with the story, the way it played out for me. However, having not played Dispatch for a week now, I am thinking that there will be a day that I want to return to it, whether it is for the sequel, if there is a sequel, or if it's to play the game again and make the exact opposite decisions that I made the first time to see how that played out, especially the big decisions. I don't want to spoil any of them, but there are some major decisions that you make along the way. And I would be kind of curious to play it out and choose the opposite and see how that impacts my story and my choices and even the mini games, because the mini games like this, the Dispatch game, is tied closely to the decisions that you make with these heroes at other times in the game. So I think I do want to play Dispatch again. I wasn't anticipating that, but I enjoyed it so much that after a little bit of time, maybe not in the next month, but after a little bit of time, I will want to play it again. So I wanted to mention it on this list. So let me know what your pick is for this month. What game that you played probably recently are you the most anticipating and most excited about getting back to the table? Let me know about that in the comments below. Thanks.